Welcome back, fellow Dream Warriors, to Riderpiece Theater. Me, Alistair Dayhawk, and tonight, me proud to present Kamen Rider Zeztz, episode 30. So, we start our tale where we left off with Zeke being all angry at, Nox because Nox had spoiled the beans. He revealed the truth that Minami is not only a code agent, but also not Baku's sister. And Nox wants to use the recovery capsule to restore Minami, but Zeke rewrote the bad dream where Minami cannot be restored. So this is how, Zeke is sick and twisted, just to get the audience to remind themselves that, hey, Zeke is irredeemable, he's cuckoo crazy for Cocoa Pops, so yeah. And so he does this funny thing where he just unleashes fireworks, and we get to see the mission, save the cat, and the mission is still on. However, in Zeke's alternate nightmare, he said in order to complete the mission, you either, kill Baku or Baku kills the cat. Well, in this case, the cat nightmare. And Baku was like, no. Like, no, but you can tell that he's in shock. He's still holding Minami in his arms. Minami is okay. But the reveal of Minami not being his sister and being a code agent, that is deep. Considering how code is a piece of shit. Because my God, code, everything for world peace, and yet they treat their agents like crap. Hansen point, what happened to Nox. Look what happened to Baku in his vision. And now, Zero has planted a mole. So we go to the next scene with Baku waking up from the dream world. And he reports back to the Black Case file members. And this is where we get this intense scene with Mulder, Scully, and then you have Baku, who is still in shock, but at the same time, he is angry. And you see poor Minami just sitting at the chair next to the table, just not facing Baku dead in the eyes. And she is very disappointed in herself. And Baku just asks, please tell me that you are not an agent of code. And this is something that I wish they would have done differently, because instead of Baku just sitting in that chair, I would have much preferred him to just stand up and just approach Minami and tell her to look him dead in the eye and please tell me the truth that you are not a code agent. And Minami, in response, she would have just looked away and said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. Revealing that, yes, she is a member of code. But instead, we got this scene with, Baku asking her, are you a member of code, without actually facing her face to face. And Minami replies with an I'm sorry, and Baku is in shock that, everything what Nox said is true. So we go to the next scene after the opening credits. We go back in time for 4 years ago. Apparently, Baku and Minami's parents passed away sometime, and because as you see, Baku is praying at their altar inside their home, and Minami goes outside to clean the front yard, only to be approached by this strange man who tells Minami that, her parents used to work for him, and we all know that this strange man is Zero. And Zero is offering Minami his condolences, and adds, hey, I have something to tell you in regards to your parents. And Minami says, oh, wait, hold on. I think Baku needs to hear this, so let me fetch him. And Zero responds with, no. This is between you and me. Can we talk someplace more private? And so we get to the next scene where they get to talk in private. And this is where Zero hits Minami with a ton of bricks with these secrets, which one of them is that her parents died on a mission. In other words, her mom and dad were code agents. And we don't know how they died. I assume they were killed by nightmares or maybe some other supernatural being. And to top it all off, her parents were on a mission to play the roles of parents for Baku. And Minami was like, what do you mean play the role of parents? What are you talking about? And Zero reveals that Baku is not your brother. He does not share your blood, even though you and your mom and dad do share the same blood, so you guys are okay. But Baku, on the other hand, he is adopted. And so Zero tells Minami that now she needs to carry on where they left off on their mission to protect Baku. From what I assume the nightmares, maybe Zeke himself, I don't know, but he needs protection. And then we get a couple of scenes with her in training to become a code agent. And then after her training was complete, Zero presents her with the cat necklace with the number 17. And so Zero has bestowed upon her the name 17. So she is Code Agent 17. And then we go back to the present time, and Baku is furious, and he tells Minami that, why are you a member of Code, knowing that how much I hate them, knowing that they killed me? Why didn't you say anything to me? And Mulder was there to calm him down and to remind Baku that, yeah, you got killed, but you got killed in a dream. So that hasn't happened. So chill out. And Minami tells Baku, look, I was only assigned to protect you and guide you, okay? I don't know anything about you becoming Zeztz until now. And I don't even know where the headquarters is at. So I am in the dark as much as you are. Like, I don't know anything about, Code's hidden agendas, anything like that. So I don't have anything to give you. So she's not a mole. In other words, she's not a mole for Zero. But regardless, Baku's like, well, why haven't you told me anything? Why did you lie to me all these years? And Minami just took her tail between her legs and just runs away as she is saying, I'm sorry. And then Scully runs after her, which leads to the next scene with Minami sitting at the park. And she goes back to where she was still talking with Zero. And now we get the answer as to why she hasn't told Baku anything. Because Minami was about to tell Baku everything that Zero told her, but Zero had to twist her arm by saying, if you go tell Baku what I told you, then I will have to take Baku away from you. Which means that your mission of protecting Baku, will be given to somebody else. So you have a choice to make. Either you keep your mouth shut or go ahead and tell Baku at the risk of taking him away from you. And so Scully shows up, sits next to her, and asks, are you still an agent of Code? And Minami replies, yes. And she adds on by saying, I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, I knew this day would come, and I was prepared for this day. But, I mean, how can you prepare for something like that? That's just my opinion. How can you prepare? Because she is devastated by the sheer idea that, yes, I didn't tell Baku the truth. And yes, I lied to him all after all this time, but, she had her reasons. Which leads to Scully is like, you've been through so much. Why didn't you tell Baku? And why did you go through in protecting someone that doesn't even share your blood? Why did you protect him? And that, ends the scene with Minami just pondering and just doesn't say anything to Scully. But I think we all know why she still protected Baku, knowing that he is not her brother. So I think she did it out of love. She did it out of love for and family. Because again, her parents passed away. All she has left is Baku. So it makes perfect sense. Like, there's no need for an explanation. And so we go back to the spy office, and Baku tells Mulder that Minami's dream is the same that happened 2 years ago with, Jocko the cat. We go back 2 years ago, and they found Jocko the cat, and then all of a sudden we get reminded of the curse. Because remember, every time Baku tries to help someone, no matter how big or small, he gets hurt. In this case, he got hit by a meteor, but it's a small one, not a big one. And so that led to, articles of, this kid got hurt by a meteor and he survived. And then Mulder tells Baku that Minami has been watching over him this entire time and she didn't do anything, which is true. And then the alarm rings, and guess what? It's Knox. So my question is, how in the hell did he discover where Baku lives? And then the next question is, how did he enter? Did he went through the front door, or did the Mulder and Scully way, which is breaking and entering through Baku's window? Unfortunately, it's not going to get revealed because Knox is the type of character who is very cold, cool, and like, why would I reserve to breaking and entering? And no, we're not going to have that funny moment, or him admitting that I went through the window. And so he enters the spy office, and Mulder is all happy that, he knew that he will come here one day, and it's here. And he is excited to see his old partner after how many years? But Knox, not so much, because he just totally walked past Mulder as if he were nothing, and walks towards Baku and wants to know where Minami is. And Baku responds with, well, you just missed her. She just left. And Knox gets all upset. I mean, why did you let her go? Like, she has valuable information in regards to code. And Mulder jumps in by saying, like, what the hell was he supposed to do? I mean, Minami is, Baku's sister. Like, she's not a prisoner. Knox, talks to Mulder for a bit about Minami being a code agent to possibly being a mole for Zero and Code. And this kind of triggers Baku by saying, you know what, I don't want to hear this. I want to be left alone, because just hearing the fact that Minami is a code agent placed by Zero just to spy on him, that really hurts. So he just runs away, and Knox tries to stop him, like, oi, where are you going? We're not done here. But luckily Mulder was in between and just lets him go while, he and Knox, had this long-awaited talk. And, he asked, like, what's the whole point of your revenge? Help me understand. Like, I thought Code was one of the good guys because, they're protecting world peace. Why are you using nightmares for? Like, are you sure you're doing the right thing? I believe in nightmares because you used to be the righteous guy. Like what's going on here? Help me understand. And Knox replies with, well, you don't know nothing. You don't know anything, which I wish Mulder could respond back with, okay, enlighten me. tell me what I don't know, please. Just help me understand what's going on with you. Aren't the nightmares, your enemies? And Nox says, well, there are bigger threats than them right now. Oh, you mean Zeke and Code? In other words, humans are your enemies? Like, why don't you use the law and punish them that way? You used to be a cop. And Nox replies with, I'm no longer a cop. And that's the last time we ever see Nox, by the way, because, after his conversation with Mulder, he just doesn't show up anymore. But Mulder was like asking good questions, and my response, like with Nox saying that I'm no longer a cop, I mean, you don't need to be a cop. Like, you can just beat but the bad guys' asses and just tie them up and just fork him over to the police and let the police handle it. But right now he's being on a quest for revenge because, remember, Zero left them to die. And that's something that he will never forgive. And he wants revenge for it. So we move on from the long-awaited talk between Mulder and Nox to Baku. He falls asleep. He returns to dreamland. He meets up with Goody Goody Nem, or Pilgrim Nem, and she gets the rundown of what happened in the real world. And Nem tells Baku that Minami was dreaming of a world where she could be a part of his family. In other words, she still wants Baku to be her brother. And that's one of the main reasons why she became an agent in the first place, to protect him. And so speaking of Minami, she is looking for Jocko the cat, only to discover that Zeke was there and pretty much broke the news that you will never find the cat because the cat is you. And she is forced to transform into the cat nightmare. And Baku shows up, and Zeke just casually sits down on a bench and asks Baku, so have you made your decision? Are you going to kill Minami, or are you going to let her kill you? Which is it? And Baku responds with, well, my answer will never change. I mean, the answer will remain the same. I'm going to save the cat. I'm going to save my sister. So you're going to sit there and watch me, do my thing. So we see Baku transform into Catastrum, and we see a fight between the Cat Nightmare and Baku, Minami versus Baku. And during the fight, all of a sudden, her dream started to, destroy itself, because you see the buildings getting destroyed, you see trees getting destroyed, you see the ground getting destroyed, and all the while Zeke's is just sitting there and being like, hey, this is what lies in your subconscious list. You want destruction, you crave destruction, you want to spread bad dreams just as I do, so just admit it. And Baku says, no, this is not what I want. And then we quickly go back to a flashback where Minami and Baku stumble across this board of missing people, missing animals, and we see the paper of the missing Jocko the cat. And during the flashback, you see Minami and Baku trying to find the cat until eventually they did. And Baku realizes that, yeah, Minami may not be my blood. Minami may be a member of Code, but I don't care about any of those things, because at the end of the day, she is my family, and I'm going to protect my family. And that unlocks a new power, which we see Catastrum, at least the upper body of Catastrum getting destroyed, and you see a new form of Ordum. And this form, this is like the second form of his ultimate. We all know that Catastrum represents power and destruction, and this new form is more of power of restoration and speed. And we are witnessing it firsthand. as you can see, Baku uses Autumn's power to, to heal Minami's dream and to separate Minami from the monster, in turn saving Minami, and tells his sister that I will protect your dream. And then we quickly go to, Baku versus Cat Nightmare, and he ends up destroying it, leaving Zeke, surprised as to, one, Baku once again stopped his evil plan, to witnessing this new power that, hey, he separated a human with, the monster. I'm like, okay, this is going to be very difficult for me to defeat this guy. And then Nem shows up, and Zeke just stares back at Nem, and already Zeke is like, you're going to be my next target now, because I believe you, the Nightmare Girl, will provide me with the ultimate bad dream. I just know it. But until that day comes, I will be watching you. Which I strongly believe that Zeke is the father of Nem. That's what I believe. But it's not going to get revealed just yet. So we get to the next scene, the final scene, with Baku, setting up breakfast. Minami comes in and, says good morning and tells Baku that I quit code, so I no longer, work for them. And Baku says, eventually, I will have to deal with code, but until then, we will have this moment together. And once that day comes, we will face them together as 7 and 17. And, with that, we see them eat toast, and Baku eating burnt toast. And that's how the episode ends. It was a nice ending because it just goes to show that regardless if you share the same blood or not, you're considered family because you've been through enough together. You ended up protecting each other and all that good stuff. Like, you don't need to share the same blood in order to be family. I think that's the moral of this episode. And thanks to the power of love and family, Baku obtains a new power. Like, I don't know if he is able to swap forms like other Kamen Riders can, but I believe so. But I think he's going to rely on more on Autumn from now on until his mega form. And yeah, I want to talk about a little bit about next week's episode, because next week it involves Zero, because apparently Baku has invaded his dream, which means there's going to be some secrets getting revealed. And I believe, this is just a theory, that Zero is actually Baku's father. Is it going to happen? Again, it's just a theory of mine, but my theory so far has been right on the money, except the part of Minami being, a spy for Zero. That was off, but other than that, her being a code agent, I was right on the money on that. The Autumn form looks nice, and overall, it's a nice episode. And to see finally, the confrontation between Mulder and Knox, it was well needed. I wish, we could get more of a reason as to why he's after revenge other than being left out to die. It has to be more than just that, but yeah, at least they have that talk, and Baku's and Minami's relationship is now stronger than ever, and Zeke once again is angry that his plans got ruined, and now he is targeting Nem. So give me your thoughts and opinions about this episode. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Even though I have my notes in front of me, I may have missed a couple of things here and there, so please write in the comments below on what I missed. Give me your thoughts and opinions about Autumn. Do you like the suit, or do you prefer Catastrum instead? And yeah, I think that's it. Give a like if you like it, and please subscribe. And I will see you all on the other side of Oblivion. 19 more episodes to go, guys. I don't want to see it go, but all good things must come to an end, right? Johnny!